Hello and welcome to Jucifer's Lair. I'm Jucifer and this is, well, my car. Because the baby fell asleep on the way home from her doctor's appointment, so I didn't really want to wake her just yet. And I figured I would just come on here and talk because I haven't done it in so long. My brain just wants to disassociate, sorry. I'm trying to focus, but... Do you like my hair though? I did it myself. I think it turned out really well actually. Even though I missed it when it was just straight blue, I think that it turned out really nicely the way it is. But anyways, essentially, what's going on in my life right now is I'm living at my dad and Marnie's. My dad and my stepmom's house. My uncle and my cousin and my nana have moved from where they were living about 3 hours away from there, so kind of sucks because can't really go visit very often, and pretty lonely. Things have been actually really hard, but at the same time they've been really good too, because I feel like I am doing a lot of self-work and a lot of growth. Not only that, I'm doing a lot of inner child healing and sorting through some emotions that I couldn't process as a kid. And I think that's been really good for me. And it's been good for me too to spend some time around my dad, so that way I can try and get a little bit more comfortable with that relationship, because I was never able to really find my footing there, I guess. Growing up, my mom and my dad were divorced and they didn't get along. It wasn't the best divorce. Like, things were pretty rocky, to say the least. So my mom wasn't really like a fan of my dad or of my dad's girlfriend at the time, my now stepmom. And it just was a lot of, I don't really remember it, but from what I remember feeling, a lot of guilt for ever missing or wanting to see my dad, or enjoying time with him, and a lot of pressure to pick my mom, I guess, in a sense, make sure that she knew that she was my favorite, but at the same time she was my favorite. Like, I just spent more time with her. Like, we were closer naturally. And essentially things were really hard growing up because I didn't feel like I was able to really develop a bond with my dad. I didn't feel like I was really able to be myself around him, which I think comes to the fact that every time I got in trouble at my mom's house, she would say that, oh, I'm gonna go send you to your dad's to live there if you don't behave, or if you don't like it here. And I would always say things, well, not always, but for a while I would say things like, oh, that's fine, like, at least my dad doesn't blah blah blah, or like, my dad this or that. And she would say, basically in reply, yeah, well, that's because your dad doesn't really know who you are. Your dad doesn't really know you. He doesn't live with you all the time. He doesn't know what you're really like. So then it would kind of cloud my judgment and give me a conflicting opinion, like maybe I really am that bad. Maybe it really is me. And, maybe if I lived with my dad, he wouldn't think so highly of me. Maybe he would see me for who I am and see how awful of, a person I am. And I think that weight that I've carried for so long with me has really impacted my life. And I think just having my dad leave and not having that relationship as closely as, I would have liked, that also has really impacted my life. I mean, obviously I have fear of abandonment, so, right? And my mom always told me that my dad abandoned us, like he just left us. Not her, but us, me and her. There's a lot of intermeshment with my mom, I guess, there for me. Which brings me to a topic. I don't know how to healthfully like, I don't know how people could get divorced and have it be healthy for the kid. Like, I don't know if there's a balance there. I'm not sure if there's a way to do it, but whatever we're doing right now isn't really working. Like, think about it. Children develop an attachment style between the ages of, well, newborn to 2, essentially. But I think the majority is the first half, like the first year. But the hard thing is, to develop a healthy attachment style, like a secure attachment style, you basically need to have a really good bond with at least one of your caregivers. And that caregiver needs to be responsive to your needs, has to be, you know, present in the moment and spend time with you and notice the changes in your behavior, your attitude, or whatever else. That way they could try and help you and do things to make you feel okay, right? Well, now imagine you're a small child and your parents just got divorced. There's so much going on for them right then. How in the world are they going to have the time to sit there with you as a baby and, you know, think about what you're feeling or, you know, what's going on for you in your head? I mean, you're a baby. You can't talk. So what are they going to do? Like, they're probably also emotionally distraught at the time too, so they don't really have the emotional capacity to even try to help you in a lot of ways, you know? And like, maybe as an older kid it's a little bit easier because you have the words to express how hard it is, or that you miss somebody, or what's going on in your head. But as a baby that can't even talk, you still have those feelings. Like, you're still are gonna miss somebody. Like, for me, for example, like, I am sure that, like, as a baby, I probably really missed my dad once they split up and he was just all of a sudden gone. Of course I'm going to have a fear of abandonment. Like, it all makes so much sense. But at the same time, my dad didn't do anything wrong by leaving. Him and my mom, it didn't work. Like, no, I don't necessarily believe that, like, from what I know, how the relationship ended, I don't believe necessarily it was the best way to do it, and I don't think that my dad necessarily was in the right with his actions before it ended or anything. But I don't think that my dad did anything wrong in the sense of being a dad. Like, he fought for custody of me. He wanted to be involved in my life. Like, he loved me very much. In fact, he possibly even wanted me more than my mom did, because I don't know for sure, but from what I've been told, she never really wanted a kid. I know she loved me. I know that. But I don't know if I was necessarily her idea or my dad's idea, you know, when they had me, like, and then all of a sudden my dad was just gone, and I was supposed to just deal with it as a small baby and not even be able to talk or have somebody, like, validate my feelings or anything. Like, that's really freaking hard. And I don't know how any small child would be able to get through that and be normal, be okay. I just don't, to be honest. But at the same time, as a single mom, I see how hard that is. And, like, I am so grateful for my mom and everything that she did to provide for me and make sure I had a good upbringing and a happy life. My mom wasn't a bad mom. She was just hurt too, and she was coping with a lot of things at the time and dealing with a lot of life stuff, but she wasn't a bad mom. She really wasn't. And in fact, sorry, distracted by cars pulling in. I think that my mom loved me very much and she did the best she could. Same with my dad. But I still am fucked up. I still have a fearful avoidant personality. Like, what's that all about, right? It used to be an anxious attachment style, but now it's a fearful avoidant attachment style. My mom has an anxious attachment style, so it would make sense that I would have one like that too, because that's what mine was in the beginning, but now it's fearful avoidant. So that makes sense logically, right? But I don't know. Kind of shitty that it, like, changed from anxious to fearful avoidant, because that means it's gone the wrong way. Like, it's gone down. Like, it's not gone better. It's gone worse. But in all fairness, my kid died. So, like, I was obviously going to have a hard time with that. And then right after that, I had some relationship problems that were pretty significant too, that really impacted me as well. And I think I just, had a hard time, closed my heart off to a lot of people. Well, pretty much everybody. And to be honest, it's been really hard to just open my heart back up to everybody since having Lucy. Like, opening my heart up to her has been easy because I love Lucy. But the more I open my heart up to her, the more I realize that I haven't been loving the people in my life well at all. And I would like to try to do a better job at that. But at the same time, I also need to try to, stay away from my people-pleasing tendencies and my, self-sacrificing tendencies, and try my best to put myself first, but at the same time think about others. And on top of that, prioritize my child, which is fine, but sometimes it's hard to balance everything. Like, for example, I still haven't even gone to see my friend Kaylee, and I haven't brought her kids their Christmas present yet, and it is already, end of January. It's almost February, so I feel kind of like a dick for that, right? Like, I'd like to be more supportive and be there for her, but I have so much going on in my life too that, like, it's been hard. But at the same time, she's dealing with situations that are very similar to what I dealt with in the past, and I'd really like to be there for her. Anyways, all I'm saying is we need to do a better job at trying to make relationships work. And if you don't want to be with somebody, like, you need to do it gently when you leave. As gently as humanly possible. Because we all have hearts. And we all feel the pain. It doesn't matter who the person is. They're going to feel the sting. It hurts. It's always going to hurt. And that hurt trickles down to the kids. If there's kids involved, then it trickles down to them. And that also impacts their kids and their relationships, and it just goes on and on and on and on. At the end of the day, I think people just need to do a better job. Better job at thinking about who they want to be with before they make the decision to get married and have kids. I know, obviously, like, it's not always planned. I mean, both my kids were unplanned. And both were with people that I shouldn't be with, shouldn't have been with, and shouldn't have kids with. But you know what? Unfortunately, that happens. I just wish I knew a better way to mitigate, I think is the word, mitigate the damages that are done. Because the last thing I want to do is bring up my daughter feeling the same way I felt, or feeling like, she's not lovable because her dad's not around, or that she's not worthy, or anything like that, because she is. And it's not her fault that he's not around. Just like it wasn't my fault as a kid that my dad wasn't around. It's just life, unfortunately. But at the end of the day, I think, we need to think about this whole thing, because kids are impacted, like severely impacted. And honestly, if you are in a relationship with somebody and you have a small child, if you can, it might be better just to try to make that relationship work, at least until they're old enough to develop a healthy attachment style. Like, if you can do the groundwork to at least make it through the first year, 2 years, if you can, of their life together, and make things as amicable and safe and okay for them as possible, I think that's beneficial. But at the same time, the fighting and like stuff shouldn't be around the kids either. So I guess it depends on everybody's situation and how bad it is. Anyways, just something to think about. But I should probably get this baby in because it sounds like she's awake. All right. Bye, YouTube. We'll talk again soon. Okay.